Kumasi. It is Wednesday, 18th of October, 2023. You are live on Orange 107.9 FM. This is the Women Lately Show. Conversations worth having. 18th of November. It's an amazing Wednesday. It's sunny outside. There was a storm yesterday. A scary storm. And I'm glad that it's sunny today and we are all having a great day. If you are joining live on Orange 107.9 FM, welcome. We're going to be talking about an all-important subject today, and that is in honor of World Mental Health Day, which was 10th of October this month. But we are dedicating all of today's show to that. And I have an amazing person in the studio. I'm going to tell you about yourself as I know you. Or before that, you can join the discussion on WhatsApp. The number to join us on is 0548 501 584. At some point, we will open the phone lines and we'll share the number as well. Today, we are joining you on our YouTube page as well. This is a live broadcast, so you can post your comments in real time. We'll read them and we will interact with you right here from the studios of Orange 107.9 FM. My name, as always, Francisca Taylor. Today we are talking mental health, a myth or reality. Mental health, a myth or reality. And because we have so much to talk about, I'm going to start the show right now. In the studio with me is a young man. Doc, can I call you?
No, actually 55 is the new young.
55, you look 45.
Is the new young.
Oh, wow. Impressive. Doc, I remember you from my first place of work when you were a rep. I don't know if you remember me from then. Maybe then I was too young.
I don't.
But I've always known you to be somebody who attaches excellence to everything you do. This morning, when I was preparing for the show, I was thinking about it. I was like, does he even know that that's how I see him?
Really?
Yes. And it came across yesterday, you know, when you were giving feedback about the flyer, and I was like, that is who he's always been, you know. So I appreciate you. I think we don't say that enough. If you hadn't come into the studio, I probably would never have told you that.
Okay.
Yes, but you tend to influence people without even knowing, just by being you. So continue being your amazing self. I'm going to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself to my listeners.
Great. First of all, I'm a pharmacist.
That's very important.
People call me Dr Richu.
Okay.
And I work at Garrison Pharmacy, just in the military barracks when you enter from the Bank of Ghana.
Right.
There's a pharmacy there on the left side, and that's where I work. And I also the executive member of the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana. So I stand on that shoulders of the society also to help our healthcare issues.
Right.
And maybe lastly, and most importantly, maybe why you brought me here is that I'm the president of the Pharmacist in Mental Health in Ghana.
Right.
So we have a passion for mental health in the country.
Okay.
And as pharmacists, we come together to be able to help the society and the public at large.
Okay. Impressive. Doc, we like filler on this show, eh? So you've told us the professional side. What do you do for fun?
For fun, I like writing.
Yes.
I'm sure you've seen some fun pieces of mine. So
Dr. Dusapoku writes. That's how we start.
So I like writing, and I like mentoring young people. I think it's one of my passions.
Okay.
Yes. So that's what I do for fun. I like reading widely.
Okay.
Not anything related to health.
Okay.
But anything from philosophy to whatever.
Oh, wow.
I'm that type of person. I just love reading wide.
Okay.
Yes.
That is impressive. That's impressive. So today we are talking mental health. And the WHO says mental health is a state of mental well-being that enables people to cope with the stresses of life, realize their abilities, learn well and work well, and contribute to their community. Do you agree with that?
I perfectly do. And we say, there's a dictum, we say that without mental health, there's no health. Yes, without mental health, there's no health.
Right.
So most of us concentrate on physical health. Okay, things to do with infections, diabetes, hypertension, the usual diseases, cancers, etc. But we don't tend to look at mental health, even though there's a nexus, there's a connection between mental health and physical health. We don't usually work very well on the health of our mind. So what WHO is trying to say in this case is that every human being has got his own abilities, talents, that the person can contribute to the society that in which he lives, the community in which he lives. But for some people, looking at the normal stress of life, all of us go through stress. Get my point? But for some people, the nature of their stress is that they are not able to function very well.
Right.
And that has got its own health implications.
Okay.
So what the WHO is trying to say is that for somebody whose well-being is good, he's able to withstand the normal stresses of life.
Right.
And is able to function and contribute to his goals in the society using the talents and God-given professional skills that he's acquired on earth here.
Right.
If you are in that state, then you are said you're in a good mental health state. Yes, that's practically the meaning of what they're trying to say.
Okay. Amazing. Doc, why have you started this whole mental health thing? I think that the pharmaceutical, the pharmacist in mental health, in mental health Ghana,
yes,
right? It's something you created this year, am I right?
Yeah, this year we launched it.
What initiated that?
It's because of my previous work background. Okay. I used to work for Janssen Pharmaceuticals companies of Johnson & Johnson.
That's when I knew you.
That's when you knew me.
Yes.
So Johnson & Johnson is a world leader in psychiatric medicines. Okay, so we produce all sorts of medicines for kids who have attention deficit issues.
Right.
And adults as well. We've got people who have schizophrenia and other things like that. So I worked in that space, from 1994 to 2015.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a very long time.
Yes. So I worked in that space, and when I became the country lead, then one had to take more strategic functions. Okay. To be able to do that. So alongside even with Dr. Ruth, also whom you may know. Yeah. In fact, when I was the country lead, Dr. Ruth had just become a resident. Okay. To specialize in mental health. Okay. And with the professors then, we all try to help to make sure that we get the right medicines in the country for mental health, illnesses, etc. Now, seeing the burden at that time of people who had chronic disease for such a long time, had serious health implications, the effects on their families, unemployment issues and all that, then I felt that, look, we need not wait till the very end. Yeah. It's like somebody having cardiovascular issues, hypertension issues, diabetes issues, and then we're not caring until the person gets a stroke.
Yeah. That's almost too late, isn't it?
A massive stroke, almost too late. So I felt that let's go and make sure that we prevent mental illness. Let's go create awareness. Let's do some health promotion. Okay. Because when you have not lost what you have, you don't know how great what you have is. Yeah. And if you've not lost your mind, you take your mind for granted. But you and I talking now, we think, we walk, we drive, everything we do, we use our mind to do that. Yeah. So we are what our minds tell us to be. If I see you wearing green, traditional dress now, it's my mind telling me you're wearing green. Yeah. Okay? So our mind is fundamental to our very, very being. So based upon that, I felt that, look, pharmacists, in particular community pharmacists, we exist in all communities. Yeah. In fact, in Kumasi here, I can bet you that every 400 meters, you can get a pharmacy.
Or less.
Or less, okay?
Yeah.
And in there is a community pharmacist. So if we're able to help pharmacists to be interested in mental health, of course they're educated in it, but they don't usually practice it.
Yeah.
So if we create the awareness and heighten the education within them and the awareness among the communities, when they have issues that can trigger a mental illness, stresses of life, they can easily go to a community pharmacist, interact with the pharmacist.
Right.
And then basically when clients come to our pharmacist too, we know those who are buying analgesics, those who want sleeping pills, those who want this. These are low-hanging fruits we can catch and interview them further and get to know what is really the underlying problems that is helping them, that's driving them to patronize these things. So that's how come that we formed Pharmacist Mental Health, because we are so accessible in the community. Yes.
I completely agree. And so since you started work, what would you say maybe it's the impact you've created? I know it's been a short time, but what have you seen?
Yeah, it's a short time. We're doing more of education.
Okay.
Within our groupings, we starting our CPDs, particularly in mental health. So it's a preparatory stage at this point.
Okay.
We hope to roll, full steam next year per our plan.
Right.
But in between, we're getting, gigs like what we are doing now, and we use that to educate our people. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So before the show, I told you today we are going to talk as if I am not a pharmacist and I don't understand cardiovascular and whatever. Everything should be broken down so that, maybe my kids
will understand.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm sure they will understand hypertension and diabetes.
There's a 7-year-old he won't.
Okay, then I'll go further down.
Yes, we have to go further down, right? But Doc, what do you think the mental health landscape in Ghana is looking like? Let's not even talk Ghana. Let's talk about Kumasi. What is it looking like?
Let's talk the world first.
Okay.
We have over 450 million people living with mental health illness.
Wow.
Yeah, so at least you're talking 10%.
450 million
people, yes, living with mental health. In Ghana, we're talking 2.4 million people living with mental health. Now, most people equate mental health with madness. So it's like you walk through the streets of Kumasi and you see somebody who looks like a vagrant or somebody who looks bad in tattered clothes, dirty, with some rasta hair, etc. And somebody will say, "Oh, he's gone mental."
Yeah.
That is the stereotypical image of what mental health is.
Right.
But that's the extreme end. That's somebody who has had mental illness, has been neglected by society, unfortunately, and now cannot care for himself or herself.
Right.
Can't even be cared by the family, and then he just goes loose. And goes through town. That is not mental health. It's the extreme end. The majority of people who have mental illnesses, okay?
Yeah.
So maybe before I answer that question, let me try to bring that distinction.
Yes.
You and I, we function very well. You function as a pharmacist. I function as a pharmacist.
Yeah.
In fact, now you even function as a host here. Good. That is, your well-being is good.
Yeah.
Your emotional state and well-being is fine.
Okay.
You can do all the things you learned in school perfectly. But something can occur that can break you. So you look at currently what is happening at Gaza.
Yep. Yep.
The Israeli-Hamas war now.
Yeah.
So imagine that last week, somebody was a business person, running his FM stations, running his pharmacy, running his hospital and everything. Then one drop of a bomb from Israel's army shatters his whole life. He sees his wife and children killed, his mother and siblings all killed. Can you imagine what this person will be feeling? We've got some Israelis who have had their children and grandchildren captured.
Yeah.
Now in Hamas. You can imagine the torment they are going through. That is the face of mental health. the stresses they go through now is unimaginable. There's some people who will not be able to take these type of stresses. And then next time you see him or her, she starts talking to himself, talking on the streets. Frankie, I hope you get my point.
Yes, I do.
So the illnesses will start from anxiety in this case. So many people can be anxious. You and I can be anxious where we manage it. But some people are just anxious below a certain threshold. And then some people get panic attacks. You know, they just become afraid and they start shaking. Some people will get depressed. They get depressed, they become quiet, they don't talk, they become withdrawn. He used to be a happy-going person, suddenly it changes. And then sometimes they start hearing voices. They start feeling like people are persecuting them.
Yeah.
They start seeing things. Okay? I mean, you may see somebody, there's no sea here, there's no river here. But suppose in your eyes there's a river. Will you cross that river? You won't cross.
Yeah.
So when you see somebody standing somewhere, and you feel that the person must cross to the other end, but he sees a river, will you in the right sense cross? You wouldn't.
No.
He sees it, you don't see it. He hears voices.
Right.
You don't hear those voices. And then it moves on and on until the person becomes aggressive, becomes very impulsive, will take all kinds of risk, etc., etc. So you see the spectrum.
Yeah.
From one end to the other end, people can be right in the middle.
Right.
So in Kumasi, when you ask me the question, what's the state of mental health of our people? I'm saying that it varies from one end to the other end. The extreme end is what you may see where somebody is in the streets, and which we call a mad person.
Yeah.
So, Franca, people are suffering. I mean, if you had all your life savings put into these funds, and the government says, I'm now taking 30% or 40% of your own capital. Yeah. And I'm going to give you 5% probably over the next 10 years.
When you're already old.
When you're already old. How do you take it? How do you take it? So I'm trying to let you see practically what mental health is about. It's not about the mad people we see. It's about the everyday experiences people go through. Look at Mepe. In the Volta region. The Akosobo Dam and the Pond Dam, they are being spilled. Communities are flooded, some of them to the roof. So you have elderly people who are sick. In every community, people are getting sick. People have hypertension, people have diabetes. Can you imagine all your medicines washed away? Every medicine of yours is washed away.
It's a scary thought.
Your monies that you had, the little you could take, you take. If it's in a bank, a rural bank there, I don't know the state of that bank. So you are there living fine. Suddenly, you are living in a church, a classroom somewhere. And then you are giving the student mattress. You are giving some food. You had your own money. Now you have to rely on relief.
Which is not even reaching them
as it should. What is the state of the minds of those people now? Somebody will break down. Somebody will think his world has come to an end. Luckily, we haven't seen any dead people so far reported. But look at the unemployment is suddenly generated. Somebody has been working all his life in all these communities. Suddenly, they don't have anything. So, Frank, so this is the reality of mental health. This is the real reality of mental health.
I like the way you've broken it down, because then I feel like mental illness itself is a very wide continuum. And people may fall in different categories of it. But Doc, what do you think will account for someone, for example, with the example you just gave about the Volta region, what would make somebody okay And somebody else lose it.
Lose it, yeah. It depends upon the biology of the person. We all take things differently. We all have different perspectives.
Okay.
Our philosophy of life.
Okay.
Just like pain, people take pain differently.
Yeah.
What will hurt somebody, another person will be able to withstand it.
Right.
So the constitution of the person, the very being of the person, may largely account for some of these things. Some people have lower thresholds of withstanding disaster, pain, trouble, etc. Some move on, and look, just like a young person or even an old person who's raped. A young woman raped, traumatized. A young child raped, traumatized. But some people are also able to overcome it.
Yeah.
They don't bury the trauma.
Okay.
They find ways of coping and overcoming it and moving on in their lives. So when it comes to mental health issues, some people are not able to withstand certain, effects, and then they drop their guard, and then all these cascading of issues come up. Right. But some of these too can be biologic.
Okay.
Some family history is being implicated in some mental health diseases. Yeah. So one of the very things that when you go to a hospital or you talk to any pharmacist with issues of mental health, they may want to find out, has any of your siblings gotten diseases, your parents, your uncles, etc. I remember interviewing one pharmacist like that, who mentioned that the mom had an issue and she was scared. Okay. Yeah, that it may come down to her end as a result of that, and her uncle too had a similar experience. So some family history, some genetic disposition, may predispose some people to mental health. But the fact that even you have a certain predisposition, which is more genetic, more DNA. Right. If you are taught to be able to cope with certain conditions, some skill set, you may not necessarily find expression of that as having mental illness. It's just like people whose family diabetes run through. Yeah. Okay? But if you are taught to watch your weight, to cut out sugar, to start exercising, all those things, you realize that lifestyle. You have two brothers. One gets diabetic before 30 years because he's drinking all kind of fizzy drinks. The other person stays away and adopt appropriate lifestyle. That person may never have diabetes. The same thing with mental health issues. Once that's why the promotion is necessary. That's why the awareness is very necessary, so that we don't expose ourselves to the point where we can get into this situation.
You know what I'm thinking right now?
Tell me.
You may meet somebody who you think is okay, and the person might just be on the brink of any of the levels of mental illness you talked about. Yeah. So I think that's why we should also offer more grace to people. Sure. Like not be so hard on people, because people are dealing with a lot.
People are struggling.
Yes,
people,
which they might not.
Especially in Ghana now. Yeah. People are struggling. So you have to have empathy. Yeah. Understanding. Towards people, the way they behave for them. And in fact, usually if you know somebody who is happy-going, etc., and then suddenly you find that a person seems a bit detached, a bit withdrawn, don't say, hey, she or he is minding his business. Yeah. Reach out to the person. Kwesi, how are you doing? I realize that now you're a bit quiet. I know you to be a fun-loving person. Is there anything worrying you?
Most likely they won't tell you.
Yes, most likely they won't tell you. Yeah. Okay? But when you probe a little bit more and they have your confidence, they can now tell you, Madam, my husband wants to leave me. He wants a divorce. Or my husband is cheating. And I've been talking to him 1,001 times. He's not minding me, and I just can't sleep. You get my point?
Yeah.
Somebody's parents may even have cancer, and the daughter is dealing with it. Maybe breast cancer. And the fear is that if mommy has breast cancer, maybe the gene may find expression in me.
Yeah.
Maybe I may get it.
Yeah.
She comes to work, she's working with you, and now she's quiet. If you probe a little bit more, you may find out why this person is now worried, why the person is anxious, why anxiety is playing a very bad role or effect in his life.
Right.
Then you have to offer the necessary counseling. Even at the workplace, you may not be a psychologist, but a little word of encouragement, a little word of advice, a little word of support will go a very long way to let people open up to you. Yes. I mean, look, people who commit suicide,
Yeah.
they always leave clues. They don't just get up and drink a poison or put a rope around their neck. Yeah.
Right.
You know, statements like, "Yes, a crane day." The world is not worth living in. Life is so hard. I mean, I wish everything could just end. You know, you start hearing those things.
That's if you're paying attention.
That's if you're paying attention.
Yeah.
So if your listening skills are good and you have active listening skills, you may realize that one person is saying something that will draw your attention. And then you start asking, Kwame, why are you saying that? And then you start digging in. If you're not even an expert, you can refer the person to a health expert, a health professional, and say, look, could you start going looking for help? I think that you know all is not right. So approach a doctor, go to the hospital, approach a pharmacist, talk to them. These things are things that are necessary for a person to do. Yes.
Wow. Samuel Boateng Kwachi on YouTube says, please, is there any law that compels family members of mentally challenged people to take care of them and also move them from the streets?
I don't know of any law that will compel family members to take. But again, as I said, we are looking at the extreme end.
Yeah.
We are looking at people who, in quotes, we call mad.
Right.
So that's where our concern is. But one of my goals during this interview is to let people be aware that there are mental health issues all around.
All around us.
And it's not those who are stripping, who are actually only mentally ill.
Right.
But as far as I'm concerned, I don't know. I know that the law compels district assemblies. Yeah, because it's within their jurisdiction.
Right.
So the assemblies are the ones who will have to take care of people who go on the streets.
Okay.
And care is not given to them. They're supposed to liaise with the hospitals within their districts.
Right.
And then use social workers to trace for family members and then to try and unite these clients with their families and to make sure that things go right. Yes.
I wonder how effective that is.
Well, we have to talk to the mayors and the MCs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, you mentioned that, I mean, we should pay attention to the people around us, right? But these days, I feel like people throw around these words a lot. Oh, my OCD. Oh, I'm depressed. Oh, I have anxiety. And they haven't been diagnosed of anything. Can you speak to that?
It takes professional skill to be able to diagnose a person. We have some skills that we use.
Right.
ICD-10, DM5, etc. So professionals will use these skills to be able to grade people. So I don't think they should just throw words, around.
Yeah.
If you think there's something wrong, you seem to be compulsive in nature, just talk to a psychologist.
Right.
And let the psychologist, assess you professionally. Because if you had diabetes, you go to the hospital and get a doctor to tell you that you have diabetes before you start taking medications. You can't say I'm diabetic and then start taking medications on your own.
Yeah.
So I would say that if you feel there's something wrong, just go ahead and let a health professional assess you. Okay. And in fact, what you just said also just brought something up. 2 days ago, somebody was referred to me, and this person said, I have insomnia. Insomnia is inability to sleep.
Right.
Okay, so the lady said, I've had insomnia for 10 years, etc. Of course, something is not making you sleep. So I started probing a little bit more. And then I realized that she's a person with a lower threshold of handling anxiety.
Okay.
Yes, so anxiety plays, a strong part. And in between these 10 years, it's had bouts of depression, etc. But she wouldn't talk about it.
Okay.
Okay, so she ignored the anxiety, she ignored the depression, and just spoke of insomnia, inability to sleep, because maybe it is cool for her. So the idea that I have other things, is something that she didn't want to talk about. And I understood her. Sometimes people would think if you open up on, mental illness issues, it's like a certain level of stigmatization.
Yes.
But if you say you can't sleep, it seems cool and normal.
Okay. It's more acceptable.
It's more acceptable. So, based upon my experience and competence, I started probing further and further and further, came to these things. And then what will make her anxious is one question like that.
Yeah.
It starts right from the teen ages. Okay, so the predisposition was there.
Okay.
I tried to probe the family history. Nobody seems to be having that. She coped with it. She's grown up. Now she's 42 years. So I asked her, you're doing a bit of social history. So I asked her, do you have kids? He says, I don't. I said, do you have a husband? He says, I don't. I said, do these things worry you? He says, it does really. I said, I can understand culturally. You may be somebody who just asks, hey, how's your husband and kids?
I know, right? As if it's a rite of passage.
Yeah. It's like you're 42 years. So
you must have a husband and children.
You must have a husband and children. And so these are normal things.
Yeah.
Apart from probably family pressure for you to get married and to have children, the normal person on the street, if she meets you or he meets you, we just assume things like that.
Yeah.
So I was telling her, look, when these pressures come up all the time and you don't know how to manage them, even when you sleep, your mind is awake. It is playing, up right in your mind, even when you are asleep. You are not really sleeping. So you wake up during the normal days and periods, and then you realize that anxiety is deepening, it's increasing all the time, and it creates a whole lot of issues and problems. So that's the reality of life. And I try to help her to counsel. I mean, imagine this conversation. It was over an hour.
I can imagine.
Over the phone and.
Over the phone.
Yes, over the phone.
Oh.
Yeah, because she's in another region.
Okay.
So I had to get time, for her, and hopefully on Saturday I'll continue the session with her.
Impressive. Let's read a few comments. John Bedu Bonsu. I'm surprised he didn't join earlier. He says, very great show. Many are mad, few are naked. I hear that a lot. I hear that a lot. And then he says, hey, 42 going on 43 about the lady you talked about. Doc, a funny story. I went to the market one day years ago, and then I was buying fish, smoked fish. The lady just looked at me and said, Jiwe fako you ukuneduane. And I'm just in there thinking, how did she you don't know me.
Yeah.
You've never met me. You don't know whether I'm married or not. You are giving me fish for my husband. I'm standing in front of you.
You don't give me fish.
You're not thinking about me. So I can appreciate that level of pressure. Not everybody is able to handle it.
Yeah.
I want us to talk about the age. Is there any particular age where you feel like people are more prone to developing mental illness?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right from childhood. Some people may have. Okay, so I shouldn't use big words. so there are some. Just look, right from pregnancy. The embryo, the baby starts, developing, breaking into 2, into 4, into 8, gradually.
I know how difficult it is for you to be saying it like this.
So the fetus gradually is growing.
Mm-hmm.
Now it happens that for some people, the brain too is growing,
mm-hmm.
and there can be some faulty processes, when the brain is growing up.
Right.
So your baby is born, but some chemicals don't work too right
mm-hmm.
in the brain. So now the child is like 4 years, 5 years, and can't even sit down.
Mm-hmm.
Jump on the bed, hop on the floor, who'll go and take a hot iron,
mm-hmm.
going left, right, second. So almost 24/7, this child has what we call attention deficit,
mm-hmm.
okay? Lack of attention.
Yeah.
And then the child is hyperactive.
Mm-hmm.
So it's moving here, moving there, talking, shouting, moving all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And because the attention span is so short, the child cannot even sit in class.
Mm-hmm.
Nursery, KG, no. So teachers will have a hard time.
Yes, and they label children like that.
And they label children like that. So if a child has ADHD, that's what
mm-hmm.
we call this. That's a very young child.
Mm-hmm.
But there are issues. And the child cannot sit in a normal, regular class.
Right.
Yes. Has special needs. So right from that end, it starts because of neurodevelopmental issues or things that had to do with the brain. I mean, the same thing, sometimes you can have a child who is born without a limb, sometimes a child who's in course deformed, one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
So for mental health, it could start that way.
Okay.
But on the average, around the age of 14,
mm-hmm.
kids will start having some form of mental health expression that you may think that something is not going too well.
What happens around the age of 14?
That's the trajectory of the disease.
Okay.
Hormonal, puberty areas all start setting in around the area. The child is developing quite well.
Mm-hmm.
So they are childhood disease. But let me just point out to our listeners that epilepsy is not a mental health disease.
Right.
Yes, sometimes people tend to think that epilepsy is a mental health
mm-hmm.
disease. No, it's not. There's a mental health disease that may incorporate a bit of epilepsy here and there.
Right.
But epilepsy on its own is not a mental health disease.
Okay.
Even it's got something to do with the brain,
mm-hmm.
but the fact that it's got something to do with the brain doesn't mean that it's a mental health disease. No, it doesn't have anything to do with your mood.
Right.
It doesn't have anything to do with your belief systems,
mm-hmm.
your thought processes, nothing. It's simply, again in layman's terms,
mm-hmm.
it's simply a high voltage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if high voltage is not that simple, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, I think we all know our electricity bulbs.
Uh-huh.
Okay, when there's a lot of electricity from ECG,
mm-hmm.
sometimes the lights will go pum pum pum, or it gets brighter, and sometimes it can blow the bulb. Okay, so that's high voltage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you and I, we've got electricity running through our brains.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we can function.
Yeah.
Electricity also runs through our hearts,
mm-hmm.
pumping our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 areas of electricity in our body, the brain and the heart. Now, for those people, the high voltage in their brain,
mm-hmm.
when it goes up, then they get fits or seizures
Yeah.
or epilepsy.
Right.
So you've got medicines that can also help. So let everybody know that when it's epilepsy, it's not a mental.
It has nothing to do with
this. Then you've got young people who may be coming up, but societal pressures. They've got friends who will be on substance abuse. I mean, somebody's trying to smoke some weed, especially the SHS level. He goes to join his fight, his friends. So, Obi 1 month, nothing happens.
Exactly.
But for you, for your first puff,
you lose it.
your dopamine.
Because if you fall pill.
Yes, you know, come on. Your dopamine levels just go haywire. You're enjoying the hallucinations, etc.
Yeah.
So substance abuse is one thing that will affect the teens.
Okay.
I mean, imagine the young people now on tramadol. You know the story of tramadol where they in fact, there's one particular case. It's also weird. This young man brought a prescription for his mom at Conventional Teaching Hospital.
Okay.
And then when we finished serving the prescription, which actually contained tramadol, alongside with other medicines, he came with his friends and said, "Oh, boss, can I buy some, few tablets of tramadol?" And I said, "Young man, why do you need tramadol? Why do you need to feel high? This thing can destroy you. It can make you addicted to it. Without it, you cannot function. And you can see your eyes disintegrating right before you. So don't enjoy the high. It is time to quit." If I later when he left, I was wondering that this prescription I saved, was it a true prescription or not? Okay, because people can fake prescriptions and come and buy. I've seen well-behaved people who actually got prescriptions of certain hospitals. They actually went and made copies of those prescriptions and actually made stamps.
Wow.
So they will come and buy, cocaine-like injections. You and I know what we are talking about. And I could say that no, a certain stamp of a certain doctor was coming all the time. So we're documenting. So I went back to that hospital to go and check. On their duty list, such a doctor does not exist.
Wow.
I called one private hospital in town. I said, "I have your prescription for these drugs." The matron says, "Pharmacist, please don't serve because we have these medicines here." It means that somebody may have stolen our prescriptions and taken it round trying to get these medicines because these people are addicts. Okay, they're addicts. So I do confront some of them from time to time. But because normal people also need it, these days we are more careful. We will ring to check whether the prescription is a genuine prescription or it's not a genuine prescription. So substance abuse can easily lead to mental health issues. Then, as a person grows up to certain disease like bipolar, where it's mood swings. Okay, so this person can be very positive, highly energized, and then the next moment, low energies withdrawn. So somebody who is impulsive at one time in one cycle becomes withdrawn another cycle. So that's a typical, bipolar issue where the mood swing all the time. It swings.
Right.
Okay, that will develop as the person gets older.
Right.
I told you about schizophrenia. Where people hallucinate, they see things that they shouldn't see. They have disturbed, disorganized thought processes, and they get delusional. They have false beliefs, etc. About themselves. So that too will happen among some people as they age. Yes. So it cuts across.
Okay.
Yes, it cuts across.
Okay. Learning a lot. I'm learning a lot listening to you. I'm going to give you a break, drink some water, breathe.
Sure.
And then I'll read comments again. Nana Bedubonsu says, I am far away in another geographic location. Okay, maybe he's explaining why he joined us late. He's always on the show. He says, hey, then I think I needed mental health help when I was a child because I didn't like school at all. Is that what you meant? I don't think so.
No, that's not what I meant.
I don't think so. But excuse me, before I come back to you, let me mention our WhatsApp line is 0548 501 584 if you want to contribute to this very insightful conversation. I appreciate that you are trying to break it down so that everybody listening can appreciate it. I feel like in school, especially in the basic schools, if a child is not able to conform to everything the teacher is saying, straight away, and usually that child is like going to be beaten or punished or whatever, but based on what you're saying, then it means that for some of them, they might actually have a mental illness for the children, isn't it?
It's possible. Maybe it can be the beginning.
Yes.
And sometimes too, it may not be illness, but it can be just a certain disposition. Okay. So in that case, the child will just need a child psychologist to be able to help the child to be able to cope.
Right.
Yes. And sometimes even in the Western world, and even now, I shouldn't say Western world, even at Confanachi now, they've got art therapists.
Yeah, I think I saw it.
Art therapists within the...
Is it Amma or somebody else?
There are several of them.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so they use art to be able to help, people to cope. And sometimes people even use music therapy.
Okay.
You remember in the Bible when Saul was being disturbed?
Yeah.
David would play some music to soothe him. So you see the spectrum. It cuts across. Yes.
Right. There's a question here for you, Doc. Samuel Boateng Kwache says, so does hitting the head with canes and objects activate mental illness?
It's an assault.
It's assault.
It's an
it
assault.
Doesn't lead to mental illness.
It doesn't lead to.
Right?
Yeah, it doesn't lead to.
Because we're on the Women Lately show, is there any mental illness that you feel like affects women predominantly?
Not necessarily that, but women may be, in fact, more predisposed to mental health issues than men.
Okay.
Even though men may take more to substance abuse than women.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, look at our cultural setting. Women suffer a lot within marriages.
Right.
And that alone is a huge factor altering women's health. Now, some women will give birth, and after giving birth, they go into depression.
Yep, that's another one.
Okay, postpartum depression. Men will not suffer that because we don't give birth.
Right.
Women do. Look at breast cancer. It's a physical health.
Yep.
But anybody going through forms of cancer will surely need to have their mental health addressed.
Right.
Because that can be very challenging for people who go through these processes.
Okay.
So even physical health, where there's a mental health aspect, strokes, etc.
Right.
There's a certain element of mental health that comes in, and that's what it is. Yes.
You know what I'm thinking? Even for the carer of the person who is going through.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, look, if you have mental illness that's not controlled in your family, I mean, imagine a mother, and you've got a kid who's going through mental health challenges. Can you leave the kid and say, I'm going to work? No. So it creates unemployment, even for one, the sufferer, himself or herself, and then the family members, particularly usually the mother, may not even be able to function fully to her capability because she's got a challenge at hand and has to be addressed.
Right.
Yes. And then they are also their own psychological well-being.
Yes. Yeah.
It's also affected as well. So it's very, very challenging.
Yeah.
Very debilitating when it comes to those things. Yes.
Someone has a follow-up question. Someone, we already answered your question, but I'm going to read it regardless. He says, if yes to his earlier question, then I think GES and maths teachers are to be blamed for the high rate of mental health issues from hitting us with canes when we couldn't answer mental questions in the morning in class. You know when they used to do mental they'll whip you. Do they still do that? I doubt. That's why
you
wouldn't know.
No. I realize they don't, because now when you ask the kid 8 times 7, you just can't say it.
I know.
Sometimes you have to use a calculator.
Well,
I think that we automatically...
Yes, they are Gen Z, they call them.
Yeah.
John Bedumosu says, hey, women too. What have we done? You know, it's unfortunate. Sometimes it feels like everything, women have more of this, women have more of that. Usually the bad stuff.
No, but men too go through a lot. Because culturally here, men are supposed to provide for the family, isn't it? And then you find a man who is struggling in life. Okay, so more or less poverty-induced mental health. Yes, poverty-induced mental health.
And you guys are not allowed to express yourself.
Yeah, you can't. You know, culturally, it's bemensu. So you don't cry, your heart out. But me, for certain things that in my life, I've cried. I've cried right before my children. Yes, and why should I hide it? I'm going through a whole lot.
Okay. And you cried in front of your children?
Yeah, I cried in front of my children.
What were they doing? Staring at you?
They're staring at me. Yeah.
In shock?
Yeah. It was in shock. I had to explain to them why it is so. So then they realized that it's normal. You see, that's the way we socialize.
Okay.
It is normal. They see that daddy cry over an issue, which was quite traumatic for me.
Okay.
And I explained to them why I am crying. And then I wipe, my tears away, etc. Sometimes it's just relieving to take that pressure off you. Do you get
just
my point?
Let it out.
Yeah, just let it out. I remember when my dad died. I saw him at the concourse, like in the room. So I went to the mortuary, got the morticians, got him to the mortuary, put him in there. That time I was writing my EMBA exam.
Wow.
You are just learning and your mind is still at the mortuary.
Yeah.
In fact, even after we buried him, for 2 years, anytime I get past Konfanochi mortuary, it's like automatic. My mind just goes to where my died, because the image of him in the van with other dead bodies, etc. All those things. We finished the funeral. I never shed a tear. On Tuesday, after Monday, you are doing all the calculations.
Yeah.
On Tuesday, my brother and sister came to my house. So they are going back to Accra, so they want to say hi before they leave. One look at them, I was even watching TV. One look at them, and then tears started streaming. I was shocked. I had no idea.
Yeah.
That this
it was all bottled up, isn't it?
No, it was all bottled up. I was not crying, mama. It's like the tears were just flowing. And then they sat down. I, composed myself. I said, "Hey, what's up, guys?" And they understood why I was crying, because they never saw me cry. I mean, I was the one checking at the mortuary, the state of the body. The usual things. Yeah. Going up and down, make sure everything was working right. And it took the burial Saturday, Sunday, Thanksgiving, Monday, Yebuka. Tuesday, they are now leaving, and that's when I started shedding tears. Yeah.
I can totally relate, trust me. Nana Adai says, LOL, what were they doing staring at you? I'm talking about your children. Our men carry a lot of weight. If only they can accept that it is okay not to be the strong one every day. Can you speak to that? Because I wanted to ask you. We all have people in our lives that are the strong ones. They never cry. They never break down. Nana Adai, I believe, is a lady. I think that, I know who it is. She's saying that men carry a lot of weight. If only you guys, can accept that it is okay not to be the strong one every day.
Yeah, I think so. I think that it is how maybe your disposition, how you are brought up, the awareness, etc. But for me, be yourself. Even Jesus wept. Huh?
Yeah.
It is the shortest verse in the Bible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus wept. I mean, Lazarus was his friend. He knew that he was going to raise him up in 3 days. He intentionally delayed at Bethany for the glory of God to be seen. So that he would say, I'm the resurrection and the life. And yet, when he met Martha and Mary and co, and they were weeping, Jesus was human.
Yeah.
He also wept.
Yeah.
And the Jewish guys would say, oh, see how he loved Lazarus.
But he would have said, what a weak man. Look at him, he's
Yes.
crying.
But if Jesus, the Savior, is crying, who am I to you not to cry?
Where's my boss? Is it internet? He's not. Because he doesn't express emotion, he doesn't cry.
He
It's
doesn't
something
cry.
we are trying to work on. Yes.
Tell him that when there's a need to cry, you cry.
It's allowed.
In fact, it's strength. It shows how human you are. It shows how strong you are. Strength even to cry. You see, that's why women live longer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they live longer. They're able to shed tears when they need to shed tears. And then they empty themselves of all negative energies.
Yes.
I
completely agree.
Yeah, any negative energy. So
I completely agree.
well, why should the man be boxed to think that Bemensu?
Yeah.
No, you see, you can still. I think Bemensu basically means that hold the fort, okay? But you can cry, wipe your tears off, and do what you got to do.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Right.
Do what you got to do. Okay. I mean, look. You are married. Once a while, you are not an engine. Even car engines, they fail, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're making love to your wife, and then, pam, you lose erection. Okay.
You cry.
No, you don't cry. But everyone will get worried.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, my performance is going down. Now, if you let fear enter into you, the next time you start initiating lovemaking, you start getting afraid.
Right.
That fear alone will again not allow you to erect and to perform.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, when your wife says, now they been I. Oh.
Yeah.
They been I 1 minute, 2 minutes.
I know.
Then-
They just say it.
Yes, then your whole self-image starts, crumbling. And then the whole day you are thinking about, hey, what's happening to me? What's happening to me? What's happening to me? And then you realize that the next time, now you just can do what you got to do. Okay? And sometimes people think seriously something is wrong with them. Come to the pharmacy, and then I try to. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with your penis. The blood is okay. It's all in your mind.
Yeah.
And sometimes when we help them with some medications, it is simply to help them to relax. And when they start performing, then you come back and say, I don't need you to say, oh, if you want to say, it's your mind.
Yeah.
So now free your mind. Once a while, these things will okay in your marriage. It's your wife have to talk to you properly. Your wife may not understand. He may even think that you've gone somewhere else to go and cheat. And now, you come back to her and then nothing is happening. So all these things can create some form of anxiety and then cause some hell of problem. Yeah.
So many things going on in my mind.
So see, I'm just looking at the spectrum of mental health.
Yeah.
It's wide, broad, everywhere it goes. But no, we are looking at the people in the street who are naked, who are dirty, and we call them mental.
Yeah.
No, mental health is just right with you.
Right.
Yeah, it's just right with you. It's just right with your friend. But if only you be mindful, then you see the stresses that people go through in life.
Yeah.
Look, there was this guy who came, the wife brought, in fact, not the wife. I was in the pharmacy one day. I was at home actually when one of my workers called me and said, boss, there's a man here who just wants to see you. I didn't even bath. I just jumped into the car because when I talked to him on the phone, I could hear slurry voice, moving up and down, high and low tones. I said, no, something's happening. Went in there. He was drunk with alcohol. And addiction, particularly to alcohol, generates a mental health disease.
Right.
Many people think of tramadol and the other hard drugs.
Yeah.
But number one addictive drug in our society now is
It's
alcohol. I talked to this gentleman. It necessitated that we had to call the wife to come over. So I sat down with them, as is usual with mental health issues, long sessions. Eventually, the source was that he had, he applies a different trade and then added electrical business, electrical goods in the jurisdiction that, he was operating from. Got the money, he was coming to replenish stocks, passed through Alaba area. And that time, about 16,000 cedis for the common work that he does as a professional. That money was taken.
Wow.
Taken. I mean, excuse me to say, this is just an average teacher who's done some electrical shop somewhere in a village or town where he works. And then that whole money got taken.
Just an instant.
Instant. And his ability to cope started drinking alcohol step by step to drown his sorrows. And now he's become an addict.
From that one incident?
Yeah, from that one incident. As I said, now it's become chronic.
Right.
It started gradually. If he had some social support, or social care, or some psychological help, etc., it could have been managed. But it's like, let me drown my sorrows. And then he's got friends who will come, let's go drink. And his wife will be fighting with those friends. And now he's in that state where it's like, addiction at that stage is a disease.
Yeah.
Because there's chemical changes in the brain.
Right.
Most people feel that, look, folks that are listening, if somebody's addicted to something, don't blame him that or her that. Why? Don't you have the willpower to say no? At the beginning, it's very possible.
Okay.
But when it gets to that stage, where without the drug, the person cannot function, that needs a detox. That needs to see, usually psychiatrists are the ones who run addiction clinics.
Right.
You have to see a psychiatrist, and then alongside a psychologist, they learn to manage. And then in fact, in the US and other places, pharmacists have, medicines that they use from time to time. Addicts come to pharmacists, for methadone and other things as a form of a replacement for those who are on crack, etc., etc.
Yeah.
It's a whole comprehensive system to help addicts survive.
It's way beyond willpower.
It's way beyond willpower.
Because people think that when you have mental illness, you should just snap out of it. Like, why are you so emotional? Just get up but they don't have what it takes.
They don't have what it takes.
Yeah. People are sending you love on YouTube, but you can't see it. Doc, what do you think? Okay, we're going to have to break for us. I'm enjoying the conversation so much. We're going to take a quick break and then hear from the people who are supporting the Women Lately show.
Sure.
Pregnant and feeling confused? Take control of your reproductive health and get the care you need with Mary Stopes Clinic Telemedicine Services. Safe and confidential care from the comfort of your own home. Experience privacy and comfort. Contact Mary Stopes Clinic today on 0800-208-585. WhatsApp 0244-208-585 and take control of your reproductive health. Mary Stopes Clinic Telemedicine Services. Empower women to make informed choices.
You're welcome back from the break. This is Orange 107.9 FM. We are on episode 3, season 4 of the Women Lately show, talking about mental health, a myth or a reality. Let's hear a bit from our sponsors. Marie Stopes telemedicine service is asking if you are pregnant and confused. My 2 girls cannot be pregnant. Are you shy to speak to someone about your unplanned pregnancy? Did you know that engaging in unsafe abortion using unapproved drugs and harmful practices can actually kill you? Your friends are not medical professionals to advise you, but Marie Stopes Clinic's expert staff can counsel you on your pregnancy options to help you make the best choice for your future. Marie Stopes Clinic has launched a new telemedicine service for women in Kumasi. Marie Stopes Clinic offers unbiased and non-judgmental medical consultation over the phone, and this allows women with unplanned pregnancies to make their own decisions. Our phone consultations give you a convenient way to access our services from the comfort of your home. You will receive the same excellent care from our experienced healthcare providers. Marie Stopes Clinic will help you take back control of your reproductive health. You can call them on 0800-208585 or WhatsApp them on 0244-208585. That's a WhatsApp only number. Perfect Health Shop. Make 2023 the year you take your health seriously. Visit the Perfect Health Shop for a wide range of healthy products, from organic honey, molasses, assorted herbal teas, spices and seasonings, collagen gummies, apple cider vinegar, and the likes of these. We are always at your service. Locate us on the Dr. Adokofo Drive in Denyame, opposite the ECG office. You can call or WhatsApp Perfect Health Ghana on 055-373-4616. Perfect Health Ghana, a healthier you naturally. And finally, it's Pinky October, and it's time to have your breast checked. Breast cancer screening is a proactive step in safeguarding your well-being. By getting regular screenings like clinical breast exams, you take control of your health. This month, walk into any of Saks Clinic's branches at Kumasi City Mall or TUC Adiemra opposite the Pink Panther Hotel to have your breast checked for free. You can also join the main screening event with family and friends at 9 a.m. on October 28th at Kumasi City Mall. Don't let fear hold you back. Early detection can save your life. Call 050-158-4474 for any inquiry. Now, this event is brought to you by Saks Healthcare Services in partnership with Orange FM and powered by Black Ash Services. Pinky October, feel for lambs, save your bumps. Actually, we are almost out of time. But thanks for joining us on the show. I have had a very engaging discussion with you. I'm going to steal a bit of your time, honestly, because we have just been joined in the studio by Dr. Otu Ansa, okay, who is joining us from Konfanoche Teaching Hospital. Doc, we've been having a very interesting discussion with Dr. Edusapoku on mental health, and he's broken it down in such a way that, I think giving my 7-year-old, because, Doc, my kids listen to the show all the time. As soon as I pick them up, they're like, Mommy, what did you talk about today? Yeah. And they want to listen. So I'm sure even the 7-year-old can appreciate what you shared. You've done an amazing job. Before we carry on with you, Dr. Otu, Nana Adai on Facebook says, 450 million mental health. She's talking about the global. Yeah. She says, I think the number may be more, given those who do not report or seek medical care or even admit they have any mental health issue, be it anxiety, depression, or mood disorders. You agree?
Yeah.
Live Love on YouTube says, I'm listening. Thank you for listening. Dr. Otu, why are you in mental health?
Thank you very much. Sorry for joining late. I can go straight to the question all the time. Greetings to your listeners as well. Why am I in mental health? I'm in mental health because mental health is the very core of who you are.
Okay.
So why am I saying this? And I give this example. If someone, God forbid, has an amputated limb, but with a soundness of mind to be productive in society, another person has no amputated limb or other chronic medical condition, but the mental state is in a very undesirable state, who will be more beneficial to themselves and to society?
The person with,
Thank you very
with
much. So mental health is very core, and I wanted to be part of the group of people who help people in finding meaning in life, health-wise, so at the soul level, in fact, to the extent of at the spiritual level and the bodily level. And I felt the place can best help is to be, and I also, of course, prayed about it, and I felt, yes, that's where I think I'll be able to help family, society, and the globe. Actually, be useful, yes, please, yeah.
So what are some of your interventions? I was told you're actually doing something like this.
Yes, please, yeah. So at Kafanot, you're having the mental health and well-being school. Okay. Yeah, so we talk about stress, we talk about general overview of mental health, art therapy, the benefit of the arts in mental health and well-being, yeah. Okay. Interventions are both what we call biopsychosocial.
Doc.
Yes,
break it down.
Yes, please. So I'm sure my senior has said so much. So I want to add is that biological interventions are the medications, generally speaking. Psychological interventions are the what we call the talk therapy or psychotherapy, and other such talk therapies. And then the social intervention are sometimes the issue with the person or the trigger, the stressor, like you were saying, was social issues, socio-economic issue. Sometimes helping to address that stressor. Maybe the person didn't realize they have one potential or the other as a source of income. That will kind of let the person realize they are more important than they think they are. Okay. Maybe that was the cause of the person's inferiority complex. Trickling down to a depressive issue. Her state. So we use this intervention, this 3-pronged intervention, biopsychosocial, to help people to. So basically, some aside the psychological and social issues, there are some what we call neurochemicals, the brain level. Some chemicals in the body will help you see what you are seeing well, help you decide I want to go here or there, have a role to play in mood as well. Exactly. So sometimes it may those neurochemicals may be a bit not in the right balance. So the medications will help the chemical aspects. Then another talk therapy will help the person realize that it is possible. Help is available. You are not as bad as you think you are. And the medications respond or come in. Individual awareness and other things come in. Then the other social environment. I'll give this analogy. If someone was without legs, let me give you an example. Sometimes even after giving the person legs, if I should say the biological intervention, the person still is programmed to think they don't have legs, so they won't move. So helping the person be reoriented that I have legs, I can do it. That's how the example I'm giving when it comes to the talk on psychological therapy. Then the enabling environment, kind of the social aspect, will help the person make the move. So this is a summary I'll give.
And this your mental health and well-being school is open to the public?
Yes, it was a maiden edition in Ghana. Yeah, so it was actually put in the public, but it's by now, they are done.
It was a one-day thing?
Yes, but it was a maiden one, so we hope to organize more to open to the public, learn more about such things, and a certificate at the end. And when there's a need for further intervention, we do so,
I think it's an amazing idea, actually.
Yes, please,
Dr. Dusapuku, mental health or mental illness is caused by witches. True or false?
It's false. And you see, there's a history. Everything that you don't understand becomes a bit mysterious. So that's how come the ancestors used to worship stones, big trees, massive trees. He said, no, this river. So things that will kind of challenge the mind. We can't easily find answers. We, submit those things to witchcraft.
Right.
And it's not with that. Look, go back to 14-something, 13-something. Among the Europeans, they were burning people for being witches. Just that they have grown up, science has dominated their thinking, and now they realize that these things are false. Part of the situation that I find is that See, if you listen to the biblical literature in the Bible, Jesus met a man full of demons,
right?
cast the demons out. He said, how many are you? He said, we are a legion. Cast the demons out. This person was cutting himself with stones in the tomb, etc. So that's one such example. Even when you come to somebody who could have been suffering from epileptic seizures, a man whose child, the fit will throw the child into fire.
Yeah.
The disciples tried to cast out whatever is worrying the child. He couldn't. Jesus came, cast it out. Said, why couldn't you cast it? Oh, this one by prayer and what? Fasting. So these particular events cloud our minds. So we study the general from these particular issues that's recorded in the Bible. And we think that behind every mental health, no, we don't understand how it came. And therefore, it's witchcraft. That's how you have which camp in the north of the country.
Yeah.
Somebody gets old. The person gets dementia. Okay? He's losing the memory. Some people get Alzheimer's. They start talking. Unnecessary things. And you stay behind, say, no. Why is this person saying this? Why is this person even saying things she has not done?
So she's a witch.
And therefore, she's a witch.
And it's always a woman.
Somehow, but you see, that one over there is the woman who even perpetuates that tag, putting on their own woman. But you see, in families where people are rich, everything is going on fine. You don't hear of witchcraft business, because everything is fine. A lot of things are poverty induced.
So, Doc, there's no correlation between mental illness and...
No, because science is trying to explain things a lot. There were so many diseases that we couldn't explain.
Okay.
But science shed light on it. And the more light is shed, the more we even are able to make drugs that will treat those conditions. Some 100 years ago, if you had a mental illness, they thought it was bad blood.
Yeah.
They'll be using razors and things to cut you.
Bloodletting, isn't it?
Yes, bloodletting, so that the bad blood will come out. But now, like Dr. Ansah was saying, we know that there are chemicals in the brain. Okay, serotonin, dopamine, all those things that control us. We still also know that for diabetes, you need insulin.
Yeah.
Okay? At first, diabetes used to have a stigma.
Really?
Hey,
oh, wow.
Yeah. And okay, don't marry. But now that we have medicines that can control diabetes, now that we know that you can even do certain things even before medicines come in.
Yeah.
Do you hear of it again?
No.
The challenge with mental health and its treatment, drug treatment, is that the whole idea of understanding even what is happening in the brain was tough for scientists to be able to understand the mechanism, and they appreciate all those things. But gradually, we are getting there. So the fact that we have not had total breakthroughs doesn't mean that it's witchcraft.
Right. Dr. Ansah.
All right. So,
what contribution do you think social media is making to mental illness in this country? Right. Are you on social media?
WhatsApp, Facebook.
Okay. I was going to say something, I'll let it go.
Right. I've heard that a lot. Yeah. So basically, social media has both ends. It can be beneficial and also can be detrimental. Yeah. Beginning with the detrimental aspects, I would say it depends on how you, the user, and you, the one uploading stuff. You both have a role to play. The one uploading stuff, you should know that you're not uploading it into any space at all, just for uploading sake. People are watching, people are listening. If it will have deleterious effects on some individuals, not just because you have the freedom to do so. For instance, you upload yourself probably as a well-known figure in society with a following, and you are on air smoking, drinking, saying that is what it means to have a good life. it is detrimental to the young generation. You owe it to society. If you are on air insulting people, gaslighting people, bad-mouthing, casting insinuations, and it could have an effect on the other person's mental health as well. You also could even influence society, or especially the young generation, to think that sometimes it's okay to free your mind, no matter what's on your mind. Okay, but there are healthy, mature ways. Sometimes through social media, people learn bad coping mechanisms, like maybe use of abusive demeanor or language, or just because you feel stressed, you can just handle it any way you like. No, the good side, which I also like to talk about, is resources for self-help.
Okay.
Available online as well. Sometimes even talk shows, like you are streaming live, right? Get so social media. You could benefit of such live things and even ask questions as well. Education is a lot. Sometimes people, unfortunately, to look at people's glamorous lifestyle, and because they may not be getting it, they see it and they feel bad, and some form of inferiority, and body shaming, all those, yeah. So this is a little I will touch on when it comes to the effect of social media. It can be very beneficial. It can actually be. You can learn so much, but I would say you have to sift and take the good, and then also there should be some regulation on the social media content, because you have a whole generation who are now on social media more than in time past.
Is that possible to regulate?
Oh yes, possible.
Yeah, there is. So I would say,
but China regulates social media a lot. You know it.
Yeah.
So I would say there is at the national level, community level, individual level, and even family level. If at family level, you can take that responsibility upon yourself. Of course, your children will find ways and means of some way, some of other one there. But at least when they know it is way less, and they don't do it with that kind of impunity when it comes to learning something they're not supposed to learn. At the national level, like you said, in one country, so you can learn from them. At the maybe individual level, it's more like if your right hand will cause you to sin, do it. If you know this is toxic to your mental health, you have to find a way of shaking it or cutting it off. Just to touch a little on what Dr. Dupo said about the spirituality bit. So in the society in which we are, like he rightly said, we all know that yes, religion has a role to play when it comes to sound mental health. I mean, it's been proven through a lot of surveys or research that some hopefulness is derived from it. Okay. But once again, like you also rightly said, I use this analogy. If you had an accident scene and you even saw lively, which is I say we caused the accident, will you say because of that the person should bleed to death in front of you?
No.
So you do both. So we didn't want to. I don't think he didn't say downplay your spirituality. No, he's trying to understand that it's better you go for the therapy, the medical or psychological therapies as well, even if you want to, you pray about it. Go for those ones because you're improving beyond reasonable doubt. We use the example of in scripture, is there no balm in Gilead? We have examples of, recommendations. Okay, so I use this analogy of Christ taking the mud, something from earth to as a medium of healing. So it's not always only. I would say do both once you are here on earth. Okay. But then the extreme to which you go when it comes to spirituality, you should be careful. Not concussions and all sort of things. Yeah. But then therapy and medication, you can't downplay them. Like he said, malaria was, but now exactly you take anti-malaria. So I would really say that therapy really helps, and it is not a sin. It's a blessing to get medications from Garrison Pharmacy or from or Companache or Recovery Pathways. Right. Yeah, it's a blessing. Yeah.
Right. In fact, what I would say to add to Doc is saying is also the screen time. So for the children now.
Okay.
In fact, they are virtually become addicted to the phones.
Yes. And the mothers are proud.
Yes, because now if you're taking a phone for a child and the child is crying, and it's like without a phone, She or he cannot
And you know,
function.
the mothers say it as if the children were born like that. Or did you also on the phone? Or they've just accepted it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be.
It disturbs their sleep time. Reduces their sleep
Yeah.
time. You know, sleep is necessary for maximal cognitive function the following day in school.
So that's something that parents should watch.
Yeah. So I think both of you are medical people and as well maybe pastors, because all of you are referring to scripture and giving revelations here and
No,
there.
see, the reason why we are stressing on this is that people get challenged, especially the Christians, between the Christian faith, that by the stripes of Christ you are healed. And then the lady I talked about, why she was able to mention insomnia, she was reluctant to mention anxiety and depression. I said, why? Is it that you think that when you name it,
It will come.
it will come and become part of you?
Yeah.
And he said, yes. I said, no. There's nothing that Jesus did that was not named. So you name it and then get it out. And I was even encouraging and said, look, you remember that somebody was blind and they asked him, is it he who sinned or the parents who sinned or who? And Jesus said, none.
None of them.
None of them. So this idea that the person, there's some bad thing the family did, and that's why this thing is happening. It's a similar thing. Jesus said none.
Yeah.
It's not from the parents.
Yeah.
It's not from the ancestors. It's not from the person suffering from the mental illness. Sometimes it can easily be biologic. Sometimes it can be trauma, as we explained, to our listeners. So let's have empathy for people who may experience a mental health illness.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lots of it. In conclusion, Dr. Dusapoko, I was going to say doc, but if I say doc, you will not know what Dr. Dusapoko. What societal norms do you think we are doing that is contributing to mental illness? Things that we've accepted, but maybe problematic for people who are prone to mental illness.
First of all, I think that society must accept that mental illness can be managed.
Okay.
Don't you hear that? Abodam Sunday, so it means that consciously we don't even want to accept that for a high degree of functioning, mental health can be controlled.
Yeah.
But there are pharmacists who have had mental health, there are doctors who have mental health. They function, they are colleagues, we know them. They come for their medications.
Yeah.
They thrive. So why can't the ordinary person thrive on the streets? So let's accept that in some cases, it's almost like curable.
Right.
In other cases, it can be well managed.
Okay.
And not always with medicine.
Right.
Psychotherapy can help people to manage a lot. If there's a need for a drug to be added, the psychiatrist will write the drug and then it will be added. So I think that if society has to change anything, let's change the perception that mental health illness cannot be managed. It's something that can truly be managed and people can function very, very well. That's the first thing I want to say.
Okay.
The second thing is that let society be mindful. Look for changes in people and support them psychologically. Okay? Just probe, find out. Do the best that you can. And just like somebody is sick with physical health, people are even able to pay money that they go and see a doctor. If you find that somebody is also challenged with mental disorder or any form of illness, encourage the person also to visit the hospital or pay for the person to go to the hospital to seek help. These two things I think will help.
Okay. Dr. Ansa, I see you're married, right?
Yes, please.
Talk to Are you newly married?
Oh, okay.
The way his lights
months.
lit up, that's why I'm asking.
Some months.
It's obvious.
He's fresh.
It's obvious.
Meanwhile, some of us are going for our silver anniversary, silver jubilee.
Congratulations.
Dr. Ansa,
Yes,
talk to us, or maybe married people who have one spouse suffering a mental illness.
Right.
Especially when the person who is suffering is not willing to accept that they have. Yes.
All right. So it's, I would say, like other illnesses, how we handle it really matters. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a weakness. No one will say we'll pray for desire, but if it happens, how do we handle it? How do we manage it? Yeah. I would say first of all, when the person doesn't accept that there's a problem, you find ways of encouraging their potential, but letting them understand that you think there's more potential in them if they will cooperate so that medically any other concerns have been addressed. You think they're already a blessing to you, but you think there's more to be unearthed. Sometimes when you go the negative criticism, just hammering on the negatives, it may not help much. The person will be defensive and all that. So sometimes try and do the other side. Appreciate them, their strength and everything. And then appreciate that you think there's more they could do more in life for you and all that things if some other issues be addressed. Likewise, yourself too. You're also trying to do some. Then another approach is to talk to a health worker. Health workers, by God's grace, because of the experience and the training, sometimes we have ways of going around some of these things. You talk to the person. The person may not, in the first encounter, accept, but at least a few things we will see may get the person thinking. There's some people it took years for them to accept. Exactly. Sometimes it's not. We don't just throw in the towel, and sometimes we may have to be a bit firm. If let's say you realize that it's costing a lot, you may have to be firm and let your spouse know that this thing is affecting us. When you have tried the other alternative, I mean, of course, gentle at first and other things, and it's not working. Sometimes some firmness. That I would say I wouldn't encourage fighting because of this issue. That's why I'm using the word firmness. Let them know that there's a lot, because it's not affecting only them, their children and all that. Yeah.
Firmness in love.
Firmness in love. Yeah. I like that. Yes, firmness in love. So, and then of course, praying with the person, but trying to also get the person to get therapy. And for those who may also have sought treatment and probably in the recovery process, bearing with the person is very important, because having marriage is known as a protective factor, proven by research.
Oh, wow.
Yes, please. So if there is any such, I mean, if you are, of course, some partners too are abusive and will not trigger or stress. Of course, if there's something like that, seek help so that you will be equipped to not let some form of manipulation or abusive words of your spouse to affect you. How to help you shield yourself from such. But in situations where it's a good one, you will want to find ways of encouraging them that they are doing well. And if you have anything concerned, explain to them in love. If they are not taking medication, remind that if you have to use alarm, supporting them in their recovery process. And I'll add last that the entire family setup, including extended family, should also be mindful of some things they say against their in-laws. If you are, no matter your religion, I don't think what you are doing is right or is approved by your God. At least I know for my Christ, it's like it is wrong. So that kind of should I say, influencing your direct relative against the other spouse is very wrong. And I'll end by this quote: "You see, whatever about it is, there's something good in the person that can be on earth that you can help." So I will use these three things that I said: support, helping to seek therapy. Then when therapy is ongoing, recovery process, helping them to go through, and then the other thing that can stress the person should be avoided. Sometimes you have to sacrifice for the person. I would say, what greater love has no man done to do it? Yeah. So, all right. I ended. I've got a lot of time.
I felt that when you said Yentuni Panchini, I think that more or less sums up much of what we've talked about today. I'm going to come to you for your final words, but someone is asking on WhatsApp, where can these psychologists be found?
All right, so the public facilities and the private facilities. Public Confornoche has one, I think regional hospital.
She means you. Or?
Yeah, so privately on recovery pathways,
Where is that?
YF, as of YF.
Okay.
And then also consult at other places. Friends Care Hospital is there and other places. But these are the main places. Recovery Pathways as of YF.
Okay.
Yes, please, yeah.
And Dr. Disapoku, where can we locate you?
Oh, I'm at Garrison Pharmacy, just behind Konfonochi Teaching Hospital.
Are you there all the time?
I'm there all the time. I'm the superintendent pharmacist, not just the owner.
Okay. Okay.
But the superintendent pharmacist.
Right.
Over there. So just next to the regional police headquarters.
Okay.
And the Bank of Ghana.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
That's it.
Okay. Dr. Ansah, your final words.
Okay, my final words, mental health concerns everybody. It's not just about, as Kim just said, the naked man on the street. It's a spectrum, and I have a passion for child psychiatry.
Oh, okay.
Unearthing potentials in these young vessels. Yeah. So,
vessels.
Yeah.
This guy is a pastor.
To maximize their potential.
Okay.
And so no matter how bad it is, there's help available. We don't just give up and throw in it. So we keep on trying to help the person to be a blessing that they were made to be, medically, all the other leads.
Spiritually and all the leads. Dr. Disapoku, your final words, please.
My final words will be that let's try and make sure that we help each other.
Okay.
We should not wait till mental disease strikes. As we all said, it's a spectrum.
Yeah.
So if you've not had any mental disorder, any mental illness, make sure that you protect your own. Do the right things.
Right.
That will keep the health of your mind always at optimal stage. I will end and say that we are what we think. We are what we think. And out of our hearts are all the issues of life.
Yeah.
So let's protect our minds. It's our very being. It's our very essence of who we are.
Right.
And so we should not only concentrate on physical health, let's also make sure that our mental health is right. That's what I would say.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Women Lately show. This was actually short notice.
Yeah.
You know, but I really wanted us to touch on mental health in this month, especially because of, the World Mental Health Day celebration. But thank you, Dr. Disapoku and Dr. Utu Ansah. I made a new friend. I like your smile, by the way. We are here next week talking about breast cancer, also in honor of Breast Cancer Month. We have to take a picture, please. So on that note, thank you for joining us on the Women Lately show. My name, as always, Francisca Taylor. Good afternoon.